All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Crew Show with a little 49er video as we look ahead to Niners Buccaneers Sunday at Levi's. In this video, we'll take a look at the Buccaneers on defense and the 49ers on offense. And of course, Pig and a Pickle, two locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. And this video is brought to you by Mojo Fantasy. I'm loving Mojo Fantasy. Check that link in the description. Make sure you use the promo code KRUEG, K-R-U-E-G, and they'll match you up to $100 on your first deposit. Everybody who does it automatically is entered into a drawing to win a Bosa or a Purdy jersey on Thanksgiving night after our post-game show in Seattle, Niners and Seahawks on Thanksgiving. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Buccaneers on the defensive side of the ball against the Niner offense. The Niner offense is really cooking right now. They're doing everything they need to do. They're running the ball. They're making plays down the field. In this last game, Purdy took care of the football. Now here comes this Buccaneers defense. And this Buccaneers defense is a little scary. They had 13 hits on Will Levis and the Titans quarterback in their game against Tennessee on that last film. And just watching it was very interesting to see the way they kind of defended things. Now, Todd Bowles is a defensive guy, and you know his defensive coordinator is Casey Rogers and Larry Foote, the former Steeler linebacker Foote. And Bowles is a creative guy. They love to blitz. They blitz a lot. They don't blitz as much as Minnesota, but they blitz a lot. And they've got a really good front line. Shaq Barrett comes off the left defensive end spot. It's a 3-4, so it's they're playing a 34 front. So they've got Barrett on the line of scrimmage, and their three down linemen are Vita Vea inside, big number 50, Logan Hall, the former Houston Cougar, and then Kalijah Cansey, the rookie out of Pittsburgh. And all those guys can play. And then, so that's their kind of their front four. They also have Joe Tryon Shoyinka, the former Washington Husky, who's very active in his own right. So they've got, they can have a kind of a five-man surface with two stacked backers, and there's two stacked backers are Devin White and the veteran Levante David, who's been around forever. And those guys are excellent. And then on the back end, they've got a good secondary as well. Now, Carlton Davis did not play in this last game against Tennessee. He was dinged up. The former Seahawk Ryan Neal is a strong safety. The great Antoine Winfield Jr., his dad played at Ohio State. He played at Minnesota. He's now the free safety. He makes plays in every area of the field. Jamel Dean is also dinged up. He's their right corner. And then they also have Christian Isian, who's their nickelback. But they'll also play Zion McCollum, one of their other corners, gets out there quite a bit. So it's an interesting defense from the standpoint of they got a bunch of guys that can rush the passer. I mean, Vita Vea is their nose guard, and they lined him up at defensive end in a couple snaps against Tennessee. And he's getting home. I mean, Vita Vea looked really good. He had a sack. He was lined up as a right defensive end in their alignment and sacked the quarterback. So he's a big-time player. He was a first-round draft choice. Kalijah Cansey was a first-round draft choice. Logan Hall was a high second-round pick. So they've got a lot of talent. Yaya Diaby made some really nice plays. The rookie from Louisville who wears number 0, he's a nice player. He's a defensive end, but he's really good against the run. And he made a couple really nice plays in this last game. And then Kalijah Cansey is got a crazy foot speed and motor at like 6 feet, 6'1", 285 pounds. In a lot of ways, he's got that Aaron Donald build, but he's just a force. He's just a force in nature. So the one thing about Tampa Bay is that they've got a lot of different guys. Now, Shaq Barrett is he's their leader in pass rush win rate. Vita Vea leads them overall in sacks. Cansey is a very difficult guy to block. He's very quick. He's very explosive. He's very strong from the elbow to the fingertip. So you're going to have a hard time. He throws away blockers. Logan Hall is a big, angular rusher who can rush inside, outside. He can stunt. They can play all kinds of looping games. I mean, they've got a very scary defensive front, and this is going to be a huge challenge for the 49er offensive line. Just because when you look at the Niner line, Colton McKivitz, if he's going to go in this game, is not 100%. He's battling knee and ankle issues. Coming out of the last game, kind of dinged up. Trent Williams, we know, is dinged up at left tackle. Aaron Banks is out, so John Feliciano starts at left guard. Spencer Burford has struggled a good portion of the year at right guard. Jake Brendel is a smart player, but he can get overwhelmed by size in the middle, and Vita Vea's got size and strength. So I just think, look at this defensive line that the Buccaneers have and say, wow, this game could be a huge challenge just simply because of their defensive line. They have defensive linemen that are all difficult to block. Vita Vea is the size of a Coke machine, but he's quick. And Kalijah Cansey is like a defensive end who could also play defensive tackle. And you could say the same thing about Logan Hall. And then Shaq Barrett is an edge rusher extreme with great speed to the edge. And he's a veteran, so he's got good hand usage, and he knows how to knife back inside, and he's got an array of moves. Diaby also is about 265 pounds. He's got a motor that keeps revving high. Greg Gaines was a good player with the Rams. He's a backup on this line. So it's a try-hard line up front, and they can give you a bunch of different looks, and they've got a bunch of guys with varying degrees of skill set. Vita Vea, as I said, built to stop the run, but has enough pass rush to get home on the quarterback. Kalijah Cansey looks like a pure pass rusher, but he's strong enough to stand in against the run. Logan Hall looks like a guy who would just be incredible playing games up front, but he's also quick enough to play defensive end in a four-man front, and he's strong enough to play the run. So they've got a lot of really good players on that front, and none of them are easy to block. So this is going to be a huge challenge for the 49ers just because, Cansey's coming into his own. Vita Vea and Shaq Barrett are in the prime of their career. Logan Hall is playing some terrific football. Then on that second level, Devin White and Levante David are just as fast and instinctive a linebacking duo as you're going to see in the game. And the thing about Devin White is they'll line him up on the edge and they'll rush the passer with Devin White. So there's times where you don't know who's coming and you don't know where they're coming from. As I said, Devin White's an inside backer, but his greatest trait is probably as a pass rusher. So they use him as a delayed blitzer. They use him on the line of scrimmage. David has as much range as any linebacker that the league has seen in the last decade. And he's very instinctive, smart as hell, knows what he's looking at, and he's very difficult to fool. So you got those two guys who dominate on that second level. There's enough speed between Levante David and Devin White, even though David's long in the tooth, to totally control that second level. And then on the back end, there's good players back there. Winfield does it all. He'll defend passes. He'll sack the quarterback. He'll force a fumble. He leads the league in fumble recoveries. He's always around the football. Ryan Neal is super aggressive safety. I think the Niners may try to pick on Neal a little bit in pass coverage. Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean are solid corners with size. Neither of them are 100% in this game, so I do expect the Niner receivers to feast a little bit. The Niners may try to isolate their nickelback in space because he's a rookie. He's a young player who doesn't have a lot of experience. But this is going to be a absolute huge challenge. I didn't even mention really that Joe Tryon Sharinka he's got a motor that just never ends. He's really good against the run. He makes plays against the run. He can go after the quarterback. So they just have a bunch of guys that can all sack the quarterback, and they got a bunch of playmakers on the back end. So It's their secondary right now is not 100% because of the injuries, and I don't know if Carlton Davis is going to go in this game or not. But man, between their front line that has a bunch of high picks and all kinds of skill, and their second level defenders with Devin White and Levante David, who can run like the wind and have great instincts, and then the playmakers in the back end led by Antoine Winfield, it's going to be a huge challenge for the 49ers to get this line blocked. And then I think more than anything, I think if there's a weakness here, it's at the cornerback spot. And I think you gotta feed Brandon Ayuk and probably Jawan Jennings against their nickelback. I would expect the Niners will throw a lot of footballs in the direction of Brandon Ayuk in this game. Also, I'd love to see what George Kittle looks like, in the middle of the field, against these linebackers. They have great speed, but Kittle, looks like he's settling into having a nice little run here in the second half of the year. So thanks to Pig in a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show, and thanks to Mojo Fantasy for sponsoring this video. And make sure you check that link in the description and use the promo code Krug, K-R-U-E-G, and get up to $100 matched on your first deposit. And thanks to all you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.